Hey everyone, it's Olivia here, aka Story Minded, and I'm back with another book recommendation video. I've just finished today reading Roald Dahl, one of his short story collections, Someone Like You, and it has the slug line, or not slogan, what am I thinking about that, it's like advertising, but slug line, whatever you want to call it, expect the unexpected. And this short story collection definitely does that. It has so many twists, but like its title suggests, all these stories contain characters that we can relate to, like everyday characters, I guess minus the sort of upper class characters that Roald Dahl seems to enjoy writing about. But if we think about sort of the era he was writing in, and obviously during the Second World War and everything, he probably, well, based on his life and the limited knowledge I have on his life, he met a lot of colourful characters from all walks of life and all sorts of circles. And there's that story that he was I think he was a fighter pilot and his plane crashed, but obviously he was very lucky to survive. And that was just on sort of like a random documentary I saw, but I just sort of wanted to share a few of the stories in here that I really enjoyed. And obviously he does use a lot of adverbs, but I think it's important to remember that whenever you see what writers in the past used to do, you need to sort of acknowledge that, because I mean he does use a lot of adverbs and words that you could cut out, but obviously back then that was the style of writing. So I mean, for example, there's some bits where he talks about, you know, held in his hands, where it, you know, if someone's holding something, unless they're holding it in a really wacky way, like something in their mouth or with their toes or something weird and obscure like that, you don't actually need that extra description. But I really enjoyed this collection. Some of the stories I enjoyed more than others. Oh yeah, and just in case, obviously, some of you might not know, because, you know, we all read different things, and I mean, I don't know lots about certain authors, but obviously Roald Dahl is most famously known for his children stories, so I was pleasantly surprised when my colleagues went to me, oh yeah, he wrote like loads of adult fiction as well, and I was like, did he? I need to invest in some of this then. So this is one of his adult sort of aimed at adults. I wouldn't recommend it if you have sort of any younger family members. I don't think they'd want to read this sort of writing from Roald Dahl. And I'm just trying to open the contents page with one hand, which is quite limiting. Sorry. Okay, I'm just trying to find. So some of the ones I really enjoyed was The Soldier. That was a really sort of poignant short story that I really enjoyed. I think it was trying to sort of show, well, my interpretation of it as a reader was post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, yeah, post-traumatic stress disorder. That was very poignant, and I think it was, I'm not sure when he wrote this, but obviously, you know, sort of in the war, there was still a lack of understanding for mental health. So a lot of soldiers who were coming back were just stigmatised against, and people couldn't wrap their heads around why they were acting so odd. People becoming paralysed in the street, having panic attacks, and it was awful. But I felt that story was really well done. And Skin was another one in here, which is really interesting. I don't want to give too much away, but it's about a man who has a piece of artwork done in the form of a tattoo, and that was a really interesting story. The Sound Machine, I loved The Sound Machine. I could really sort of relate to that story. It's about nature and lots of different stuff, but I really enjoyed The Sound Machine. The Great Automatic Grammatisator. I can't pronounce that last bit very well, but that was another story I really enjoyed. That's like the aspiring writer in me resonates with that story. Well, actually, it's interesting. What happens in the story I don't agree with from the perspective of an aspiring writer, but it's a really interesting take on writing, like as an industry and everything. So that was another really good one I enjoyed. And the last one, It's almost like a mini short story series, if that makes sense. So it's got the main title of Claude's Dog, and then it has all these like different sections that involves this character called Claude. And it's the rat catcher, Rummins, Mr. Hoddy and Mr. Feecey. I really enjoyed that. It's there's a greyhound involved in greyhound racing, and I thought that was really interesting to read, and almost like the whole idea, I guess, of karma and stuff like that. So yeah, that was the most recent book that I've read, and I'm hoping to read oh god, I've got so many books to read at the moment, I'm not sure what I'm going to read next, but possibly I'm going to go for a non-fiction one. And I've managed to add a tiny bit more to A Human's Touch, which was really good because I've been in a bit of a writing slump lately. Don't know why, just haven't been feeling very creative, just been feeling really down for some reason. So I was really happy that I'm actually just trying to pull myself out of it a bit. And there was this really good little tip that I picked up on recently, where you often do this like with asterisks, but you can do it with brackets as well. If you're stuck at a certain point in your story, rather than panicking, just put in the brackets or whatever you want to do, the sort of the pieces that you're missing, and then just return to it later. So if you have ideas further ahead, feel free to write them, because I mean there's nothing stopping you from then going back for a first draft and then adding bits in. So that's been really good. Anyway, good luck with all your writing projects, and I hope to do another video soon, and it'll probably be 712 more things to write about, because there's a prompt in there that I need to actually do, but I'm hoping to do that soon. Bye!